Welcome to The Kingdom Sleeps, the fantasy bedtime story decided by the roll of a dice. My name's Andrew, I'll be your story master for this evening.
And my name's Tom, and tonight I'll be playing the role of Yohm.
So tonight we will be rejoining Yohm in his journeys across the outskirts of the snowy and arid region of Brusjama in the adventure of Ludock's Cave. Tom, can you tell us, for a bit of context on this episode, what it is that Yohm knows about the last great war, the previous battle that has almost shaped the culture of Sopros at large, perhaps a few hundred years ago?
Yeah, that's quite a big question, so I'll try and keep it somewhat succinct, I guess. Much with most of Yohm's upbringing, he got a little bit of stuff from a lot of different places, no really heavily academic upbringing, so he's very much aware of what happened, and most of the knowledge he would have gained about the war would have been taught to him as a child in a form of sort of storytelling to teach some form of moral lesson. Particularly for him, the lesson being, don't mess with the Mamu too much, really. There's a balance to be had here, living alongside them, and if you go too far either way, something strange could happen again, like it did oh so long ago. So he knows not to rely on the Mamu too heavily, not to use and abuse them, as it were, but at the same time not to ostracize them and try and expel them from civilization, because that can lead to some pretty bad things too.
So funny you should say that, because I feel it will be particularly pertinent as Yohm's adventure carries on. Once again, as always, we'd like to offer a huge thank you to the Patreons for supporting the show. We really couldn't do it without you. If you're enjoying the show yourself and you'd like to help support what we do, then you can check out the link below. We do some ad-free episodes over there. We give out some art sometimes, some behind-the-scenes content, and lots of discussions about the show amongst ourselves. We'd love to have you over there if you feel like it. But with that, close your eyes, make yourselves comfortable, and join us where the kingdom sleeps. You stare into a swirling abyss of infinite depth and possibility. And you are surrounded by a homogeneous cloud of what you have been, what you are, and what you will be, that drifts around your whole being. And as you stare deep into this cloud of what is, from in amongst the mist, a figure steps forward, and a familiar voice greets you. It is the voice of your friend, Ren, of the Harvesters Guild. This is a scary time, Yohm. Everything is changing. Can you really make things as they were once again?
I do not know, but we must try.
Try, Yohm. Please. Please try. For all of us. Another voice from behind you calls your attention, that of Hana, your oldest friend from Sunalaga. Don't let them sever our connection with the Mamu, Yohm. It's special, you know that. What can you do? What are you gonna do to make them understand?
Just show them anything. Just getting them out there with us to feel what we feel.
You have to. Do that, Yohm, you have to do it. Once again, a voice from the front of you calling your attention and a figure coming from the mist, that of the Servant Supreme, Kenhard. The people of Sopros are in very real and imminent danger, Yohm. There is no one in this world even half as close to stopping these attacks as you are. What is your plan?
To find out what ails the Mamu so. To help them with their pain. In doing so, we will solve this problem, I'm sure. I'm sure.
You best be sure, Yohm. Your certainty will decide the fate of all of us. And these familiar voices begin to ring around you. Help us, Yohm. Help us, Yohm. Help us, Yohm. Round and round.
Please help us.
As they get louder and louder in your atmosphere until they almost come to a crescendo when a sudden piercing voice cuts through the noise, and a vision of that blue eye once again presents itself towards you, with purpose and determination staring directly into the heart of you.
Come and find me, Yohm.
And you are snapped awake. And you find yourself once again back, leant up against the sturdy bark of the tree trunk behind you, with that crackling fire in front of you. And you are greeted by a startling sight. The ever-watchful Tonto, sitting there right in front of you by the crackling fire, staring intently at your once resting face, but just behind him, this tall, looming figure, adorned in long, sagging purple robe with golden trim and hood covering up the majority of his face, looking down at Tonto with this very prominent, what looks like some sort of religious symbol hanging from a chain around his neck. And his hood comes back, and revealed to you is an elderly monstrum gentleman, long white hair spooling out from his cloak and rolling down his torso to its middle, and he greets you with a warm smile, saying, "We have not had travellers here for a long time."
I can see why not. You startled me, old man.
Was not my intention.
Are you sure of that? Creeping up in the dark to a sleeping stranger.
Can see a look of hesitation in his face. At your words, Tonto swings his head around him, sees this unfamiliar figure, and begins to scramble across the floor towards your side, and sits himself by your bent knees on the floor. Roll me an insight for this gentleman.
And that'll be a 7.
At those last words, You can see his eyes dart around quite thoughtfully. You've given him cause for thought for a second with those words, and he rejoins with, I apologize. I am not very used to talking with people these days.
And I'll slowly begin sliding my back up against the tree that I was sitting against to meet him at eye level. And I'll too lower my hood and meet him person to person, properly this time. And do you have a name?
That I do, Yohm. That I do. My name is Morvast. Morvast Shinrik. How do you do? And he extends his hand out.
Greetings. And I shake it firmly, but not too pleasantly at the moment still.
I was just out on one of my evening strolls when I came across you talking to young Ira there. I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. I had to introduce myself. You seem like a unique traveler, one with quite a purpose.
Aye. My purpose is mine, and for those I share it with, not for eavesdroppers. But nonetheless, I get the impression you were expecting me.
Quite intuitive of you. Quite intuitive. I wouldn't so much as say directly expecting you, but there's been something in the air late. Something of change, movement. I could sense it in the tides, you see. And well, when I saw you here, something felt like destiny.
So this is all based on a feeling? You wandering around in the dark night, looking for campsites?
Well, no, I wasn't directly looking. It is not irregular for me to take walks out in the forest at night. I live in a humble abode just outside of the village walls, you see. I'm not welcome in their society.
And why is that?
Well, I think purely because most of them think me a madman. I would say that I have discovered a truth, a truth that many people find hard to swallow.
And is this the same truth the other Shinriks are spouting?
The other Shinriks.
Aye.
Could you enlighten me as to exactly what you mean?
Well, I was hoping you'd be the one to do some enlightening. Eli. No? Friend of yours? Family? Dare I say?
He gives a curt smile and a definitive nod. Yes. Of course, I shouldn't have been surprised that the tides would bring you here, having met my brother. No, I can assure you, Yohm, our truths are quite different. He is one of the Light Guard. And I am, I suppose, what you would describe as a cosmist.
No. That explains all of this then?
He looks down to his robes and talisman around his neck. Yes, indeed. We are few in number these days. But since I have found the truth within their ideas, my life has never been the same, Yohm.
Well, I'm starting to feel like this is all some sort of cosmic joke that I'm just stuck in the middle of. Your brother was one of the last I spoke to leaving Sun Cult. Now you're here. One of the first I speak to when I crash out of the sky.
It is funny how the cosmic tides can bring us together in this way, weave its connections between people.
And, these tides, do they say anything of a... And even though he knows there's no one else nearby, Yohm sort of looks around himself a little bit, almost preemptively embarrassed about what he's about to say. Any talk of great blue eyes?
Incredible. Have you seen her?
I've seen something.
You know not what you have seen.
No, it's, we crashed hours ago. And since then I've been making my way to try and find help. Somewhere up the mountain there, a voice called to me. And that eye I saw beckoned for me. And that is all I know.
Yohm, I am so glad I've come to speak to you. I have never been more certain that these are times of change and that you must hold a great destiny within you.
Perhaps, but... No. You're not going to get me carried away on this. There are men on that hill that need help. We were in an airship, it crashed. And I need some engineer or someone from the Constructors Guild to get up there and send them aid.
Yohm.
Now Shinra, can you help me and these men?
I don't think you understand the import of the happenstance of you being here. I dare say, Yohm, you were perhaps meant to crash here. You have been spoken to by the great Eye, the Oya-Geist. She is the Mother Spirit. I have spent years trying to make a connection. And she speaks to you the moment you arrive, telling you, come and find her. Yohm, do you know what I speak of?
I haven't the foggiest.
He looks down to his breast where this talisman lays around his neck, and he holds it up towards you, and he shows you 3 eyes in triangular formation. Yohm, for every Mamu that exists in this world, or I'm sure you have observed there are distinctly 3 different types. There is the Oya-Geist, the Mother Mamu, that powerful and ever-present master of spirits from which all the rest spring forth. I believe you have been spoken to by the mother spirit of the blue Mamu, and I have known for some time that her resting place lies beyond the walls of this village, towards the cave, what the locals refer to as Ludock's cave. I am sure if you have travelled this far, you will have seen it.
Well, I've seen the murmurations around it.
Yes,
Guessing that's what you mean.
the Mamu are certainly very agitated at present. The locals, they use that cave to mine Brightstone. But recently, just after the attack, they have refused the miner's entrance. The Blue Mamu have been swarming the way forward so that they may not pass. I can only imagine the miners must have done something to agitate them. But that, Yohm, that cave there, is the birthplace of all Blue Mamu.
And what makes you so sure of this?
I feel it.
Of course. Now, not too long ago I'd have called you crazy. Or something of the sort, but... well, I'm hardly in the position to do that now. Now, tell me, these Blue Mamu, what are their eyes like around here?
I feel I understand what you allude to. Generally, they are quite normal, what you might imagine from any Mamu you find. Though that night, the night of the attack, they were dark. They were black. Something had changed within them, I'm sure.
Yes, I've seen others with a similar affliction. And your brother, in fact, seems to have quite a theory on it.
I'm not sure how it is that you came to meet my brother, or what it is that he's told you about the truth, the Mamu. But, well, take his advice lightly, will you? I don't quite trust him to have the best interests of nature at heart.
Well, on that at least we agree. He's a very smart man, but with such intelligence comes sometimes reckless ambition.
Reckless is the word, I feel. Callous, too. He can be a kind man, but there is some empathy for the world that he lacks. And he... well, anyway, that's a story perhaps for another time.
Yes, so, tell me then, when was this latest attack?
It wasn't long ago. But perhaps 2 weeks gone by now. And the village has changed significantly since. They are panicked, Yohm. Approach with great caution.
I shall. I'm not my best self at the moment. I had a run-in with some of your Blue Mamu on my way down here.
I see. They harmed you?
Of us all, yes. Acting like wild beasts.
Well, of the Mamu, they are more likely to be, how might I say, rambunctious, I suppose.
This wasn't rambunctious, no, it was almost calculated, predatory of a sort. Closer to a pack of Leopolds than anything else.
And it was not long after that you spoke to the Mother Spirit.
Just moments, I think.
I think it was perhaps a test, Yohm. And if you stand here before me now, I think you may have passed.
And that's easy to say now. Well, something about it still doesn't quite sit right. If this Geist?
Oh, yeah, Geist, that's right.
If this Geist wants to meet me, as you say, why would it make it so difficult to do so?
In trials and tribulations, Yohm, there's much to be learned. Perhaps there is some essential knowledge that you require before she wishes to speak.
Maybe. But now, you are starting to sound a little too strange again.
I apologize. I don't mean to be cryptic or seem shady.
No, I'm sure. This realm of spirituality, or whatever it is you may call it, has been thrust upon me quite suddenly. And I find the only way I can navigate through it is to keep my feet firmly on the ground. So I must ask you once more, before we talk of Mamu mothers and lofty ideals. I have a duty to my companions up there, and they need aid. Can you provide it?
He looks almost crestfallen as he bows his head down to his feet and wrings his hands, looking back into your eyes. I don't think I can, Yohm. I am on not great terms with those of the village, and if I attempt to seek aid on your behalf, especially with Tonto in tow, I will be rejected. Quite frankly, I think you have a better chance by yourself. Though if you intend to approach the gate with Tonto, I think you will have to have your story quite straight. And if you intend to sneak him through the gate, I think you should approach with great caution.
Well, I appreciate your honesty in that matter. Well, you're going to have to find a way in somehow. If it is indeed some divine calling that has brought me here, then, well, answers must be somewhere there. And means to help my friends must be near as well. This is all too intelligent for a mer like me.
Oh no, Yohm. I think you're exactly the mer to be here. Just as you say. Keep your feet on the ground. I think they'll take you far.
Well, where can we find you, normally, if I need to speak to you again?
My abode rests just outside of the village walls, between the cave and the northern entrance. It's some journey from here, but if you ever need me, anything I can do for you, I will. Here. And he begins to rifle in a satchel on his belt and pulls out this long cylindrical vial with quite a thick, dark tincture in it and hands you the vial. This is a concoction of my own. It adds vigor to one if they are lacking it.
Well, thank you. As he slowly takes it away from him, using the very minuscule amounts of physical contact to try and suss him out one final time.
Well, it was a pleasure to meet you, Yohm. And Tonto.
Tell me, before you go, how is it you know our names?
As you say, Yohm, I suppose I'm nothing but an eavesdropper, really.
Okay.
Nothing so mysterious in that.
Well, forgive the paranoia.
Understandable, really. The next time we meet, I will try my very best not to make it so abrupt.
Yes, I'd appreciate that. Be careful. And not everyone's as pleasant as we are.
Ha! Don't I know it, Yohm? Don't I know it? Likewise. The people of Teort are good people, on the whole. As I say, they are very scared, and they do not understand. Treat them with kindness. And, well, you do as you please, but I would recommend you do not lie to them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yohm, for everything you have done and what I feel you are about to do.
I'm glad someone else can feel it too. And with that, Yohm will pick up the few belongings he has with him. Will gently kick out his fire with surrounding grit and remnants of ice. Will soak in this close and dense atmosphere within these trees once more. He'll take a deep breath and make his way towards one of the gates.
taking a deep breath and trudging on through the forest towards where Yohm believes the gate to be. More vast, wandering off in the opposite direction through the dense trees and disappearing as a shadow. It's not long before Yohm reaches out behind a canopy of overgrown bracken to the trees that just skirt the outside edge of the path. At the main gate, as you sit on the edge of the brush now, looking out towards the large portcullis gate that is the entrance to what Morvast described as the village of Teort. Just outside this huge gate, one of the first things you notice is a solitary guard who stands just in front of the very small entrance within an entrance that sits at the base of this large portcullis gate. Running out of the bottom of this gate is what looks like two long train tracks that run perhaps 20 feet out from under the gate and then just stop abruptly, a little bit closer towards where Yohm is hidden just within the brush. And those features that you could see before standing on high, coming down towards the village, much more prominent now. You can see these huge pillars of bright stone that stand in between the large watchtower posts that intermittently line this huge circular wall that surrounds the town. Another prominent feature you can see immediately is that on the face of this portcullis gate is a large circular sigil, and it is that sigil that you saw on the small bronze gift that was given to you by Ira, that circle containing a triangle with that old stern Duergar profile in its centre. Now, from where you stand, just in amongst the brush, Tonto, just by your side. As I say, you're probably a good 50 feet away from the entrance, and as such, not yet detected by that solitary guard who stands in front of the gate. From where you stand, you can see two watchtowers, one on either side of the gate. One a little bit more visible than the other, though whether there be any personage in them, you cannot tell, just a flickering torchlight from inside. What goes through Yohm's mind as he watches this scene?
He's taken aback, and the amount of bright stone on display so prominently. Even a city like Suncolt required less to keep their entrance clear of Mamu, so seeing such an obvious effort to deter them, it resonates with him a little bit, makes him feel something, at least. And his eyes will dart down to the, in comparison, relatively small man stood there in front of this giant fortification, and almost laugh at the irony that this person is here to guard all of that. But before getting too carried away at all, he would want to check in with Tonto and see how he was feeling, being so close to this much Brightstone, and seeing if it was having any effect on him at all.
As you look down to Tonto, he stares out at the same scene that you look upon. You can see that he doesn't seem obviously affected, but his arms and his paws are wrapped around himself, almost as if cold, without shivering, and he seems a little bit more withdrawn, self-contained than he normally might be in his open, contented self.
Are you alright, Tonto? Yeah, something he said, or...
Oh, no, I don't know anything that he said. But I don't know, I guess I just feel a little bit funny because of...
He nods over at the gate.
Yeah, I thought it might be that. Well, on my lie, Tonto, I think most of this place is going to be covered in Brightstone. It's not been made nice for Mamu. But I need to go in there.
What do you think we should do?
Well, I'm really not sure. We've got two options the way I see it. One is you come with me, and the other is you wait. Neither of them seem amazing.
I don't think I like the idea of waiting by myself. I want to stick with you, Yohm. And even if it means feeling not good, then I think I can do it.
Yeah. It'll only be for a little while.
I'll try anyway.
As will I. I'll be as quick as I can. I'm sure as we make our way further down, and if we go near that cave, I think Mamu will be fine there, so... We need to find someone to help Groob and the rest of them.
Yes, we do.
Hey, maybe when we're through the gate it'll be a little bit less intense on the inside.
Well, it's not too bad right now, so hopefully.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I do know about inside here is that they are not too friendly with Mamu at the moment.
Oh. Well, maybe if we tell them that we're friendly and we want to be their friends and we need their help, then they will understand.
I think so. But first impressions are tricky things. It might be best if you just hop on inside for a little while again. until we find the right people to speak to.
Okay. So, I am hiding.
Yeah, just for a little while.
And we don't want them to know that I am there.
Not until I have the right opportunity to introduce you.
Okay. Okay then, Yohm. I will do my best to be small and quiet.
Thank you, Monte. If it gets too much, or if you're worried of anything, just give me a little pull. I'll get out of there as quick as I can.
I will, Yohm. But I'll do my best to stay hidden. If that's what we need to do, and that's how I can be helpful.
For now, at least. Hopefully not for long.
And Tonto leaps into the air in that sort of gravityless way that he's capable of doing sometimes, and just slowly clings onto the side of your cloak, flipping his body round a little and shrinking just a bit as he does, to slowly tuck his feet into the inside of your cloak and make himself quite small and tucked away as he was before. And as he lays there now, as far as you can see from your body, it may be, you could assume that it was difficult to tell that he was there from the bulk of your large, cold-bearing cloak.
Well then, we're as ready as we're ever going to be. So with that, I make my way along the brush for a little while away from the town gate. Not too far, just far enough that I won't be in eyesight as I exit it, as I want to approach just from the road, as any traveller would.
Great. So you make yourself come just a little bit further down the path, joining the road a little ways down, and then head back towards the gate, like you say, as any traveller would. And as you begin to approach the gate from this dusty, rocky path that leads its way up to Teort, the guard at the entrance spots you from a good distance, and from perhaps 70, 80 feet, he'll call over to you. Order, traveller. What is your business?
Hello there, Guardian. Hi. I'm on business of the guild. We need your aid.
Ah. What guild are you on the business of?
Harvesters, mostly, but all of them, please. And as I approach, I begin rifling through my pockets to find that very special mark that the servant supreme gave me upon leaving Suncult. As we're getting closer, and I'm holding it up, being as open and transparent as I seemingly can be.
As you begin to get that bit closer and the gap is closed 40, 30 feet, and you begin to rifle into your cloak, you can see the posture of this guard begins to change. He goes slightly on his haunches. He begins to bring his weapon up to point towards you. And as you get a little bit closer, you start to realize that this guard's weapon is not any sort of traditional spear that you've noticed before, perhaps from the Guardians Guild as a default weapon that they might use. This looks like some kind of piece of mining equipment that is being impromptuously used as a weapon for a guard, but he looks at you with a concerned face as you step forward and bring out that very special mark. And as you present it to his face, once again closing that gap a little bit further, 10 feet away, he looks to the shining and impressive mark in your hand with a furrowed brow. Hold there. Wait, just a moment. And almost unwilling to take his eyes from you, he begins to turn around slightly, and he gives a very special knock on the smaller door contained within the large portcullis. And at that knock, a small sliding metal plate comes across, and a pair of eyes only are seen through it. And he begins to whisper something. The metal is slidden back over. And he looks back to you, his whole posture staring. I have to ask my superior about this. They won't be long.
Of course. You must have seen it, though. It was just hours ago. Our airship came down from the sky. Just atop that ridge, up there. There are more of us. We need help.
Oh. The blimp?
Yes, it crashed. There was something happened to the Brightstone. I'm not sure what, but the captain, he's a guild master. He's up there now with 2 others, salvaging what they can.
How do we know you are not a thief? And that you stole that?
Do I look like a thief to you? Would a thief slide all the way down that damn mountain in the dead of night, in the freezing cold, to try and assault this damn near fort? But damn it, man, I'm in need of aid. I know times are tough, that's why we're travelling now. But please, they need help.
And as he stammers these words, the door behind him creaks and opens forward. And it's just then that you can see the sheer depth and thickness of this little door that sits in there, even itself fortified to the maximum, as it seems the rest of this town appears to be. And as this door creaks open, you can see that the guard, not dissimilar to the person who stands in front of you on the other side of the door, simply stares at you with thoughtful eyes and offers a hand to beckon you in. And the guard in front of you looks to his colleague, looks to you, stands aside, and walks backwards through the door.
He takes a deep, almost borderline frustrated breath and follows them in.
As you begin to follow the guards in, this is something that Tonto may find particularly difficult. And with a 19, you do feel a rumbling at your chest. It's like a very acute vibration against your heart. But it makes no noise. As far as you can tell, it doesn't appear to be visible through your cloak. And he's done very well to conceal himself as you step through that huge threshold. These walls, incredibly thick, out through to the other side. You are greeted by two things. One is a elderly Duergar gentleman next to the guard who let you in from the other side. He takes a deep sigh and extends a hand towards you. Hello, traveler.
Good night, my name is Yohm.
Pleasure. You have a servant supreme mark?
Indeed I do, yes.
I will need to see this.
Of course. He's still holding it right in his arm. He moves it close to him, as if to offer it, but maintains a very firm grip on it.
Ah. Of the Harvester's Guild.
Yes, Guild Master Kenhart.
Well, we are glad you are here, I suppose. As he begins to search for the words, almost to begin to introduce himself and you to...
Yohm had cut in any slight pause that was there. And I'm sorry to be so presumptuous, It has been a long and cold night. Please, can we move somewhere warmer?
Oh, yes, of course. Please, join us in the public house. And, he begins to walk down along the central street of this large town. Now, the second immediate thing that you will notice is that this, as you look out across the buildings of this village, really a small town, as you look at it, is in ruin. A great devastation has happened in this town. There are holes, large holes in slate roofs, the size of carts. The central bell tower that you can evidently see once shot up in the center of the square of this long road that stretches across the center of the town is fell. It is collapsed all the way to the ground, rubble scattered across the floor, the bell itself dislodged from the center and lying in front of you. At the far distant back wall of this fortified town, you can see a huge hole, a hole the size of a building, circular in shape, that you can see workers shoveling pieces of raw, unrefined bright stone into in an attempt to fill it. And it generally looks in some disrepair, as you also see wandering townsfolk, some children making the best of the situation, playing in amongst the rubble, picking things up and making games of it. Adults wandering about their business with looks of dismay, looks of shock on their face. And given that Yohm knows that this event happened some time ago, the immediacy of feeling that you can see in the faces of these adults must impress upon him the great shock that has occurred here. Oh, by the way, my name is Hugus.
Hugus, thank you for your hospitality.
No, you are welcome. I'm apologetic for any stress that our young men may have caused for you.
No, none at all.
We all saw the ship come down. We were unsure what it was, but no, we are a kind people, really, but we are quite on guard at the moment.
I can only hazard a guess. The same things are troubling you as they are in my home as well. That is part of the reason why we are on this journey. But before then, allow us to get comfortable first. This is quite a story to tell.
Certainly. Yes. Well, after you, and by this time you have reached a very humble-looking building, a small, one-story sort of Watland orb, thatched roof.
Well, as we were making our way over there, Yohm would have been very mindful once again to try and make respectful eye contact with anyone he'd care to share it with, moving on down here, trying to acknowledge many of the individuals as he could, all whilst keeping a very low-key, almost eye and a hand out for how Tonto is as they're moving through this town. Hopefully some of that agitation settled down now we're further away from any of the larger Brightstone structures.
And as you do so, you can certainly feel that really acute vibrating in your chest has diminished significantly. He seems to have relaxed somewhat, coming some distance from the town walls. And so, as you turn the corner into this humble pub, a room with just a few wooden tables and chairs, no bar to speak of, simply a few closets at the back and a wash basin in the corner, a small contained fire in the very centre for warmth that lights the room.
And as he sits down and finally embraces a little more of that comfort, Yohm will tell him, well, the truth. In reverse, almost. Leaving Tonto out until the very last moment, essentially. Saying how we were on this journey and the blimp crashed after being given this mission of sorts from the Servant Supreme, how we saved his son from a Mamu attack as well, and then how we found Tonto and this new ability of sorts to connect with the Mamu.
And so, just to be precise in your relation, because of course, as Yohm's journey has progressed, Tonto's involvement has been ever more entangled in his adventures. Do you mention as such that Tonto helped to prevent the crash of the blimp?
Not right away.
But as much as he would know is that you at some point met with Tonto and these abilities came to you to interpret the Mamu a bit more closely.
Yes, he'd backtrack his way to that also sticking of points, hopefully providing enough context along the way to set the scene, to diminish as much shock as can be done, but something that is inherently so shocking.
As you relay this story in this totally empty room, apart from 2 guards that met you at the gate, and Hugus, who's the only one sat with you at the table. You can see the wide-eyed expressions of the guards, the young men, staring at you after having relayed this, and a very cold and sober expression on the face of Hugus, who leans forwards on his elbows, staring at you intently and trying to absorb all the details of what you've said. And as you begin to finish, he shakes his head. This is quite a lot to take in. You say you speak with the Mamu, and you are here to stop them from attacking. You can do this.
It has been done.
And this small Mamu that you said gave you the powers, is that right?
Well, I'm not sure if he gave them to me as such as there is a direct correlation between the two. I'm not going to pretend to know much more.
Where is it now?
Well, and I must ask your forgiveness for this, as I would stand up into as much space as I could find, in whether it's in a corner or just away from the 3 others in this room at the same time, as to not provoke any immediate reaction. And I begin to just open up my cloak as I stand there. This is Tonto. Please forgive my deceit, but it was the only way.
And as you unveil Tonto, who nestles himself in a small, almost a perfectly cylindrical ball inside of your chest and sits there.
And I gently sort of deposit him onto my shoulders, as he knows we are so used to when we travel around, usually.
Tonto, almost scared to move at first, looks into your eyes, understanding implicitly from the connection you have that things are safe. Clambers his way, without floating, using his paws to make his way up your body, and sits on your shoulder but stays very tight to your head, and puts one paw at the back of your neck as to stay close. And you can see the 2 guards stepping back slightly, mouth open, eyes wide. Hugus sitting upright, his elbows coming away from the table and his hands coming towards his lap. Rigid, looking into your eyes. Oh! I see.
Mm-hmm. Now, I understand your apprehension, but lest I remind you, a sword can do as much evil as it can good. Now, this Mamu is my friend, and he is safe. Please do not do anything jumpy, for all our sakes.
Well, Yohm, as much as we appreciate all that you have said, as it stands here in Teot, Mamu are no friends of ours. Please roll me a dexterity saving throw.
And that'll be in 11.
An 11. With an 11, you feel palpably the tenseness in the room, and those two young boys as guards, as quicker than your eye can even see, they lunge to their back, both of them almost in synchronicity, drawing out this large sort of, it almost looks like a fishing net with huge nodules of bright stone woven into the patches of the net, and they draw it out from their back almost like a sword with these heavy stones attached to it, throwing it forward, and those stones acting as points of inertia that come quickly towards you. And roll me 2 dexterity checks, actually, please.
That was a double natural 1. For a total of 4.
The first net comes flying towards you. It hits the side of you and goes to the ground. Just as you begin to dodge it, but your feet become enwrapped, and the second net comes to your other side, and those heavy rocks throw to the back side of you and begin to wrap themselves around you. And you are pinned and grappled by this net. These two young guards rush forwards to grab your arms on either side, to hold you fast, and Hugo stands up, takes a couple of steps slowly towards you, with almost a look of sorrowful grief in his eyes, as he says, "Oh, Yohm, I wish it did not have to be this way."